Back in late May of 2024, I decided to check out Momocon in Atlanta, Georgia. I had a damn blast, played some awesome games, got some new tabletop role-playing games, and even learned a little bit about content creation. So, I'll be breaking down Momocon from the perspective of a 4-day guest at the event. This means I'll go over event structure and logistics, and this will include what type of event this convention is, the length of the event, and the various price points you can purchase a registration ticket for. I also will talk a little bit about accessibility, and more specifically, if you like tabletop role-playing games, is this convention for you? This video is for anyone and everyone who may have gone to Momocon and wants a refresher or is looking to go to Momocon next year. So join me as I discuss one of my favorite conventions of 2024. Momocon is an anime gaming convention that happens in Atlanta, Georgia at the Georgia Congress Center. This year it broke attendance records with an impressive crowd of over 55,800 attendees over Memorial Day weekend. Momocon has a lot to offer, by the way, for all kinds of nerds. There are 9 broad categories that I've made to help you understand all the nuances to Momocon. Those are registration, panels, workshop and events, guests and autographs, vendors and the general dealer hall, gaming, which has many subsections, cosplays, parties, and finally, self-care and more chillish events. And note, in the video description, I have a timeline for every part of Momocon and all of those subsections, so feel free to skip around to your heart's content to find the information you're looking for. Registration. This is where you can either buy your pass at the door or pick up your pass that you pre-ordered online. Do note, if you are going to buy your pass, you might want to buy it earlier rather than later. As you can see here, there are multiple price points for when you buy. So keep that into consideration if you are really interested in going to Momocon. There are options as well for your pass to be mailed or for a standard pickup option at the Georgia World Congress Center. There are also options to get individual day passes for folks who are interested in one day. I personally like buying registration early on rather than buying at the door since I like saving money. Though I'll admit, if you want to avoid the huge pre-registration line, you can go ahead and buy at the door for the 4-day pass or for a day pass of your choice if you're around Atlanta, Georgia at the time. At registration, you can usually grab a pamphlet on the event. They also have a useful app that is available during the event where you can more easily look at the various panels, workshops, and meetups. Next are panels. Panels are live programming where fans and/or professionals discuss topics of interest to them. For instance, there are panels on why anime women of color mattered, a 2024 Pokemon Go player meetup, a panel on creating engaging tabletop RPG actual plays, one that discussed gaming in the year 2004, an introduction to PNG 2Big and Twitch, and one discussing how Gundam is for everyone. Ultimately, panels can be a lot of fun. I will go a little bit more into depth on my personal enjoyment after the breakdown, but just know, if you like seeing your favorite creators discussing topics of interest or you're trying to network, then panels can be really helpful for that. Now, workshop and events are a little bit more involved. These will have instructors showing the audience how to create something, make something, or cook something. For instance, there were workshops on flower crown making, which were really awesome to hear about. There were also workshops on how to play the ocarina. There are workshops on miniature painting or learning to create bento boxes. There are lots of workshops available at Momocon because of the large diversity of people that go to it. And the best part, these can be either free workshops, which are first come, first serve, or have material fees that can be reserved prior to the workshop. For example, I think some of the miniature ones had material fees because you couldn't just show up without a mini. So do take that into mind for all of the miniature nerds and or Warhammer 40k nerds in the audience. Celebrity guests and autographs. This happened, I recall, in the past 2 years in the dealer's hall or closely by. But you can get your personal items signed by one of the celebrities at the event. This can include photography with an artist as well. Momocon has a breakdown of the pricing on their autograph page, but know that different creatives will charge differently. Some creatives might have agent fees that are included, while some don't. So your price could range from maybe $50, $100, or even more. So, best advice, just be cool about it and engage how much you're willing to spend. These creatives, these celebrities are people trying to make money, and for them, this is their livelihood. So respect that. Vendor and vendor halls. The vendor hall at a convention will hold all of the booths where you can buy sweet merchandise. In Momocon, the dealer's hall, aka the vendor's hall, is exactly that. You can buy cool dice, gunpla, stickers, shirts, posters, hoodies, bags, books, and so much more in our beautiful consumerist culture. It is also an opportunity to interact with artists and creatives who've put a lot of work into their craft or finding new creatives. The vendor hall in the past was also located near the fan car showcase, which I think is really freaking cool. Like, just look at some of this stuff. Plus, there are some food options in the vendor hall, but it's really expensive. So I always err on the side of avoiding con food prices at all costs. This advice is applicable to beyond Momocon. Just in general, avoid con food unless absolutely necessary. So bring a good pair of walking shoes, some water, and make sure you pace yourself because there are lots of stuff going on. Gaming. Yep, everyone's favorite hobby. There's a lot of gaming. There's arcade gaming, esports tournaments, tabletop gaming, card games, board games, console and PC games, LARPing, VR gaming. I don't think I forgot anything in that list, but let me know down below in the comment section for anyone who's gone to Momocon if I did. A lot of the gaming events such as the arcade, esports, card games, board games, console gaming, and VR gaming were also in the huge exhibitors hall. They were sectioned off in vendors hall, of course. So take that into consideration, they're not combined. You could, within a small walk, go from the awesome esports tournament on, say, Tekken or Smash Ultimate to the arcade games, then to the board game table. Now, the tabletop gaming and LARP games were in the Omni Hotel in 2024, which was only a small walk away. But in 2023, I recall the tabletop gaming being in the Georgia Congress Center, but upstairs. So each year, some spaces do change, so take that into consideration as well. Cosplays and contests. There are multiple cosplay events and meetups that happen at Momocon. I personally didn't go to any of them, but every year they can be found on Momocon's event page. So I can't really speak too deeply on them, but I can talk about that there are many wicked contests that happen. There's the cosplay showcase, the build shop custom contest, which is for Gunpla and other mechs. There's a Disney sing-along contest and the AMV contest. Like I said, I didn't go to any of those either, but I did see the Gunpla build shop and the cosplay showcase briefly, and they were pretty freaking cool. So if you like cosplay and contest or any of that kind of stuff, then that is perfect for you. Parties. There were parties at Momocon that you had to pay separately for. I didn't go to any of them. I watched a few vlogs and they said some of them were at capacity in 2024 and that they couldn't get in. So I don't know anything about them, but they kind of sounded lame from the 3 or 4 vlogs I did watch on Momocon. But if you're a party person who loves that kind of stuff, then I say go for it. Hell yeah. Finally, in all of the mess and beauty that is Momocon and conventions, there are more self-care and chill stuff going on as well, aka self-care and chillish events. The AFK space. This is a relaxing and calm space that you can just sit there and color in a book, talk to some of the mental health experts there, and catch up with some water and rest. It's a really awesome place to go when you're feeling overwhelmed. I seriously recommend it if you go to Momocon. There's also the manga library too, so you can read plenty of manga while chilling out with your friends, or just chilling by yourself. So for me, this is my second time at Momocon. I spent the vast majority of my time in 3 places: vendor hall, panels, and the tabletop RPG space. The vendor hall, I've said it before, is huge. I mean, really big. There were over 1,600 booths in a massive downstairs lobby of Building C. This vendor hall brings lots of people and as a result, may be where you spend the majority of your time. So I highly recommend you choose a day out of the convention to see the vendor hall. Go through each aisle, seeing what you really want to buy and what creators you want to support. And to a great extent, this goes for the whole convention. you should make an attack plan that is based on what you want to do. I wrote down my goals. 1 being checking out the Black, Brown, and/or trans and queer artists, creatives, and exhibitors at the vendor hall. 2, I wanted to see what TTRPGs were on sale, as well as play at a convention since it's so rare for me to do that. And I also got to play some DCC at the convention and buy some awesome RPGs like Capers and win some awesome merch. Thirdly, I wanted to up my YouTube and creative game. Panels and discussions, seeing how other creatives manage their lives, art, and the politics around that were really important to me. But I could have planned better in other ways, like what games I wanted to play or what panels I wanted to go to. While there is a lot going on, you could sometimes feel overwhelmed by the amount of stuff. So write down your attack plan and prioritize things that you most want to do. If you don't, you're going to end up wasting time like I did on occasion. I'll be splitting this out into the positives and negatives of Momocon. I enjoyed Momocon for what it was, a gaming anime convention that brings about large swaths of nerdy communities to talk about their favorite media, fandom, or piece of content. There's a lot of stuff for everyone, and that is their benefit. You can spend most of your time cosplaying and hanging out with your friends, or spend the day playing Magic or watching the Smash and Tekken tournaments that they had. There's also the added benefit of having a huge venue. So that means with plenty of space, you'll have plenty to do. It's also located in a major city, so there's plenty of food options and entertainment options inside and outside of the convention, where some cons are located outside of major cities, which can be kinda uncomfortable for some people. Plus, for the Black audience on the channel, Atlanta is a Black gay mecca, so there's plenty of Black queer folk in and around and at the event. So you're going to a huge population of Black and brown, queer, and trans nerds, and I, for one, with my channel, think that is always an awesome benefit. In terms of negatives, one of those is accessibility. Yes, Momocon has a lot of elevators, escalators, and there are motorized vehicles available, but that doesn't really mean much when the amount of space you need to travel from one place to the other takes a considerable amount of time. This might have been an issue of a lack of staff or volunteers, but we had to walk all the way from, say, building A to building C down long halls and everything to get to the vendor hall, let alone to even some of the panels. They had to pigeonhole many of us into these small crowds, which last year I didn't feel like that was the case. It was a bit frustrating having to do that when I feel like they could have had multiple points of entry staff available to check badges to let people in. This caused a bit of annoyance having to go around the event every single time to get to one place, but it's a minor inconvenience. I'm sure that they're figuring it out for next year. Plus, while the event has a lot of various game events, some are prioritized over others. Obviously, the highlight is going to be the esports, digital gaming, contests and cosplays. That is the highlight of Momocon. It is an anime gaming convention. And unfortunately, the tabletop role-playing space and the LARP space in 2024 felt a bit underwhelming to me. It didn't have as much variety as I was hoping for, and in comparison to 2023, there just felt like there were more RPGs playing. I could be wrong, and feel free to let me know if anyone recalls the difference between 2023 and 2024, but it felt a little bit underwhelming. Also, it did not help that the tabletop RPG and LARPs were in an entirely different building, even if the building wasn't that far at all. So for anyone and everyone interested in going to Momocon, I say go for it. If you love anime, video games, and cons that can appeal to everyone, then it's going to be a blast. I'd even say go with your friends and make it a trip. There's a lot to see and experience with fun for all sorts of nerds. They have a massive dealer room, and the wide diversity of folks brings a strong contender to my favorite conventions. But if you are looking for a tabletop RPG convention, then it's not going to cater to you and the needs you want. With that in mind, I still say go, and I likely will go in the next year. However, did you go to Momocon in 2024? Let me know your thoughts about the convention down below in the comment section. Finally, a special shout out to my Patreon supporters, Harrison Parker and Paul Vilpe, for your continued support. You help this channel grow and support all of its creative endeavors. You too can support my Patreon and Coffee down below in the description box. And as always, I'm your average everyday queer host, Blurry Decision. Y'all, have an awesome day.